Good afternoon. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Oklahoma City Metropolitan Area Public Schools Trust for May 1, 2012. First order of business is to approve the minutes of the April 3, 2012 meeting of the Oklahoma City Metropolitan Area Public Schools Trust, and I'd recognize a motion to that effect.
Move approval.
Then moves or second? Second. Moved and seconded. We'll vote. Approved. We have two applications for suburban school district funding. Mr. Todd.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first 3A is an application through the Suburban School Funding for Middale Schools for 3 school buses, and item B is for Piedmont Schools. It's for wireless access internet technology.
If it's okay, we'll vote for both of them at the same time. Does that make sense? Is there a motion to that effect? So moved. And moves or second? Moved and seconded. We'll vote. Approved. Moving into financial reports. Mr. Todd.
You have in your packet the financial reports for the period ending February 2012.
I have a question. The other revenue, what is that coming from?
Oh, the $28,400?
I was looking for my number. Well, there's other revenue of $149,885 this month, and it's about $20 million total.
I'm going to have to defer to our business manager, Lance Musgrave.
Just generally.
The 22,000 of the 28,400 in that control account is a repayment from WIN contractors. Or am I looking at the wrong?
I think what the chairman's looking at is above that, the under the current month and the total, the $149,885 listed as other revenue. Is that right, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, just generally where that money's coming from. We've been having it each month, and it's added up to quite a large number overall.
The majority of that is reimbursements to accounts from suburban school districts.
I see.
That once they complete their, they give us a plan, and we approve that plan, and they have 3 years to complete that plan. And if they come in under the budget or they complete it and don't need all the funds, then they return those funds to us and they go back into the account.
And they go back to the account of the specific suburban school that gave it to you, so they'll
then
still
they
be
have
able
to re-request that money again and go through the process. Gotcha. That's $128,000 of that other revenue.
I understand. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So we're being asked to approve the Public Schools Revolution Obligation Report and also to ratify the Metropolitan Area Public School Trust payments. Are there any questions about any of those? Is there a motion to approve and ratify?
I move to approve and ratify.
Thank you. Is there a second? Second. Moved and seconded. We'll vote. Approved. Now, number 5, Roman numeral 5, we are being asked to adopt a resolution authorizing the general manager of the Oklahoma City Metropolitan Area Public Schools Trust to negotiate the purchasing price of real property located at 800 North Harvey Avenue for the Oklahoma City Public School District Administration Building using MAP sales funds, or to enter into executive session on the advice of the municipal counselor to receive confidential communications with its attorney regarding purchase of the real property that we discussed. I'm going to recommend that we do go into executive session. I'm going to recommend that we go ahead and vote on that now, then we'll finish the rest of the agenda and we'll move into the executive session afterwards, if that's okay with everybody.
Move approval.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. We'll vote. Approved. We'll move into number 6. We're being asked to approve the expenditure of funds for the purchase of furniture, fixtures, and equipment for Cleveland Elementary School not to exceed $88,000, project ES 57. Are there any questions in regard to this? Is there a motion to approve?
Move approval.
It's been moved and seconded. We'll vote. Approved. Moving to number 7, we're being asked to ratify the issuance of and approve addendum number 1 for Webster Middle School, reject the bids, approve the revised final plans and specifications, and authorize the Secretary to advertise for bids to be received May 22nd, project ES 69. Mr. Todd, is there anything to add to this?
We have a presentation today by Dwayne Mass from Mass Architects regarding this project.
Very good.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Trust, my name is Dwayne Mass. Thank you all very much for letting me be here today. Shane Murray, who has been your project architect on this project, working under my direct supervision, has had a family emergency today. And he has been a great young man and done great work on this project. What we have today are the final plans on presentation for our rebid to bid in May 2012 for the Webster Middle School. The outline of this, of course, we have our cost savings, the scope, the assessment, preliminary design, our estimate, and the schedule. Within the rebid, we processed several items that we could remove and felt that did not affect the project in a detrimental manner or fashion. You see some of the items. They were doing a recover on the floor. We were able to get our finalized permit cost, and so we didn't have to stick a large number to sort of cover that. We found a better way to work with existing door frames. We have reduced exterior flat work. The largest savings come about in the heating and air conditioning systems and the mechanical. We have determined that the existing ductwork can be retained. It is in good enough condition with minor repair and can be cleaned. And we're going to let the existing boilers and associated piping remain for those boilers. The overall cost savings is $1,177,087. Project scope is essentially, it's to create the environment for 825 students. It is a complete renovation of the existing facilities and the addition of new classrooms and administrative suite. The assessment on the site is we essentially are doing some work to the site itself on exterior basketball courts, cleaning of the exterior. Beyond that, in the building, the renovation of the lockers is very limited. We've identified 65 specific lockers that have been damaged, and we will do individual replacement to those, lighting upgrade, water piping, fencing, landscaping, parking, paving, and the other associated items. The assessment also included an electrical upgrade as the service is approaching 35 to 40 years old at this location, the doors and hardware for ADA, the fire alarm, emergency lights, again to meet current code, the clock and bell system, lights and telephone. On the site plan, we basically have the areas that we have existing parking to remain, and then some of the areas that we're infilling, we chose to infill a courtyard to help alleviate some security concerns within the school. In our floor plan, you see in the center courtyard, we put the administrative area there, as now the administrative area is somewhat divorced from the rest of the school. This allows basically administrative to have a better, for lack of a better term, eye on the school. The school is roughly split into the services on the top half and the classrooms on the bottom half, and administration in the middle. Seems to work quite well. Some of the exterior renderings. The interior design, all of the colors come from existing Webster colors, and we have introduced floor patterns that we hope will complement the existing interiors and go well with the work we're doing. Here is the new entry corridor with the administrative suite, and it will be directly off the main entry. The media center, the expanded media center, and our schedule. We are hoping with our May bid that we will be at a July 2013 for completion of construction. This project is unique in that it has 10 phases. We were able to have 10 phases in this project as we have worked closely with the school, and the principal is able to give us 4 classrooms at a time. By utilizing 4 classrooms at a time, we can not have to use portables, and that's saving us quite a bit of money. And we've got a quick turnaround on these 4 classrooms. We've worked well with the staff there. They have been most accommodating. I can't say enough things about how well they worked with my staff, but we feel like this one should go very well. We'll be able to turn over 4 classrooms essentially on the whole bottom part. At the same time, we'll be able to take on the administrative area in the center, the infill, because it will not impact the classrooms at all. The cost estimate with the remodel and the addition, our estimate is $6,853,321. which we are forecasting roughly $1,236 difference from our PRP. We have 7 alternates in the project. May I have your questions, please?
Question I would have, obviously you've had to go back in and change things to make
Yes, sir.
the numbers work.
Yes, sir.
Are we going to end up, and this may be a question as much for Mr. Todd as for you, sir, with a project that looks like it's been jury-rigged somewhat and it doesn't really look like a full renovation? For example, with the lockers, are you going to have a bunch of lockers, 60 lockers replaced that will be different colors or different anything else? Or are we going to be able to match them all up perfectly and all that?
Specifically on the lockers, they will be repair of the existing units.
I see.
And then we'll immediately paint those. Actually, the lockers, for their several hundred, were actually in fairly good shape. So the replacement would have been very, very costly. So we were able to define that scope. But the boilers, which were the big ticket item, the boilers and the piping, were not in the PIP originally, but we felt very confident about our budget. And I guess that's the first time we've walked into one of these feeling very confident about our budget, and we thought we could take the boilers on and that we could get the boilers into the project. And so the boilers will not be seen. The ones that are there function well. They would just not be as efficient as some new ones. The ductwork, after a great deal of review of the project, the mechanical engineer determined that the ductwork with minor repair was in very good shape and could be cleaned and reused with modifications, and that will save us again several $100,000. Luckily, most of the items we're dealing with are hidden. You'll never realize. We were able to keep, and we focused on keeping, the finishes and the appearance which the school needs. It needs an appearance upgrade. We tried our best to keep those forefront because they mean a great deal to the staff.
Other questions?
I have a question. Did you say this school was built in the 70s, you think?
The 60s, the late 60s, occupied, I think, first in the early 70s.
And by the pictures, I'm assuming it's a flat roof?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell me the status of the roof?
The roof, our office participated in the re-roof of that building roughly 11 years ago, and we put a good 20 to 30-year roof system in it. We will be instigating some repairs in a few ponding areas specific to the project. But luckily, we had a very good working knowledge of that roof specifically.
Carl?
Sorry. With respect to the existing boilers,
Yes, ma'am.
can you tell us what the remaining useful life is on those?
A boiler, that gets into a very good question. Boilers typically get replaced when they begin to lose their efficiencies. They're such, and I use this hesitantly, but they're such dumb technology that if you can keep that case in good shape, essentially what you have are giant burners heating hot water. We feel that with minor maintenance, the boilers should give them, we're hoping, another 20-year service life.
Okay. And how old are they currently?
Currently, they are as old as the building, approaching 40 years old. But they are in very good shape.
Other questions? Seeing none, is there a motion for approval?
Move approval.
It's been moved. Is there a second? Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. We'll vote. Approved. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, we have 4 amendment change orders, one for Hoover Elementary, one for Arthur Elementary, one for Belle Isle Middle School, and one for Capitol Hill High School. Is there anything in particular, Mr. Todd, that needs to be discussed on each one of them?
They're all pretty routine items. The architectural was some redo on canopy. Hoover is a unique school in that it's basically in pods, and all those pods are connected with the canopy, and the canopy was designed and then redesigned at the school's request. But other than that, there's nothing real out of the ordinary on the stuff.
Is the board willing to accept a motion for all 4 change orders to be approved? Okay, is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Vote. Approved. Thank you. We also have 4 items for final acceptance: Buchanan Elementary School, Edwards Elementary School, Hoover Elementary School project and Lee Elementary School. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman,
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
I'd like to point out that on item B, we have a revised memo.
I'm sorry.
The original memo said that it was placing the maintenance bond into effect, but it has already been placed into effect, so it's a technical
Was
issue.
placed into effect on
The item needs to be amended to delete the acceptance of the maintenance bond.
Okay, so I would like a motion to that effect relative to Edwards Elementary School.
Move
Is there a
approval.
second? Moved and seconded, we'll vote. It's approved. Now, with that amendment, we will then ask for a motion to approve the final acceptance of the 4 schools that are on the list there. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Is moved. Is there a
Second.
Moved and seconded. We'll vote, approved. Okay, we now have concurrence items. First concurrence item is with the concurrence with the Independent School District number 89 in approving amendment number 1 to the contract for the architectural services for JHBR Architects relative to the 2007 school bond issue project 1, which is classrooms and gyms at Coolidge, Van Buren, and Hayes Elementary Schools.
Mr. Chairman, items A through G are really just housekeeping items. We originally called these bond issue projects SB. The numbers was SB 0001 and so forth. There was a conflict with the Water Wastewater Department because they have projects named SB, so just to make sure
We
that,
had to find new initials.
excuse
We
me,
had to find new initials.
well, right, so we decided to call them S7, as in
Gotcha.
2007 bond issue. So that's A through G, H is a preliminary report, and I is an award of contract.
Okay, let me ask for a motion for A through G, which basically just changes nomenclature.
So moved.
Been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. We'll vote. Approved. Now, Mr. Todd, number 8, H.
H is a preliminary report for the 2007 bond project of classrooms and gymnasiums at Parmalee, Hillcrest, Pierce Elementary Schools.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, I'd recognize a motion for approval.
Move approval.
Been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. We'll vote. Approved. And then, Mr. Todd, number I, or letter I.
Item I is a award of contract to Globe Construction for classrooms and gymnasiums at Coolidge, Van Buren, and Hayes Schools.
Are there any questions? Is there a motion for approval?
Move to approve.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. We'll vote. Approved. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Todd. Mr. Clowers.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. A few updates this month. There are currently 24 schools in construction. We have 5 projects that we will bid in the next 2 months, 3 of those in May. Taft and Webster Middle Schools will bid May 8th and May 22nd, respectively, and then Adams roof replacement will also bid on May 8th. We'll bid work on Emerson Alternative School on June the 5th and Rogers on June 26th. We did receive some favorable bids on the Jefferson Middle School project on April 24th, and we'll be recommending approval of the construction contract most likely at our next meeting. Work continues on the schematic design for the downtown elementary school. And regarding I-89 bond projects, bids were received on April 10th for Monroe, West Nichols Hills, Wheeler, and Nichols Hills Elementaries, and the contract award was to W.L. McNatt. That'll be scheduled for the Board of Education consideration on May 7th. There are 3 schools moving into final plans phase, Parmalee, Hillcrest, and Pierce. We expect these to be completed, the plans to be completed in August of this year. That item, you just approved the preliminary report today for those 3 schools. And then Taft and Spiegel High School stadiums are in the preliminary report phase. Preliminary reports are ongoing for work at Adams, Bodine, Horseman, and Kaiser for classrooms and gymnasiums. And we will have a groundbreaking at Roosevelt Middle School this Friday, May the 4th at 10 a.m.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, you've also received in your packet the report from ADG, Architectural Design Group. And if there's no questions about that, I will ask for any comments by trustees, staff, citizens. We will now move into executive session. Okay, we're back from executive session. I would recognize a motion to amend the resolution to include a joint resolution with the school district.
I move to amend the resolution to make it a joint resolution with the Oklahoma City Public School Board.
Is there a second? Been seconded. Any other discussion? We'll vote. Approved. Now I would like a motion to approve the resolution
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution
as amended.
to enter into negotiated contract.
Okay. Any other, is there a second? Second? Any other questions?
Question, okay, and I want to state publicly that my understanding is that all that's been authorized by this trust at this point is just the negotiation of a price, and that before any commitment would be made to purchase or to expend the MAPS money would come back before the trust.
Understand. Is there a second? Okay, it's moved and seconded.
Second.
We'll vote, but I'm going to, Carl Edwards is going to abstain. Approved. Vote. All right. It's approved. Any other business, we'll adjourn.